Good morning. Welcome back. Relief for America's workers could be on the horizon. Lawmakers inching closer to a deal that would approve billions more for the Paycheck Protection Program.
But as you know by now, shops and restaurants are closing at devastating rates, and Americans can't wait any longer. Joining us with more on when this deal could be done, Senator Marsha Blackburn. Senator, thanks so much for joining us on our program. But look, you've heard the stories. You've seen them on our air. You've seen them elsewhere. People are struggling. When is this going to get done?
Well, Todd, you're right. People are struggling, and I see it in Tennessee every single day. As I'm talking to small business owners, as I'm talking to people in the live entertainment industry, and bear in mind, they were shut down overnight. And we continue to push forward. As you know, we've had a bill on the floor of the Senate twice, and each time Democrats have voted in lockstep against that funding. And then you hear Nancy Pelosi come about and say, well, now that we're going to have a new president, as she's hoping, where it's okay to vote for funding, and how terrible that she's admitted using people and their plight as pawns in order to get her political way. I find it to be absolutely disgusting. But we are trying to reach an agreement. We would be hopeful that we can do another round of PPP, plus up in unemployment insurance to add that extra $300 a week. Bear in mind, people lost their jobs through no fault of their own. And then, of course, money to speed along the vaccines and the antivirals and therapies, money to get schools open, because I hear it every day. People want to go back to work. Children want to go back to school.
Yeah. Well, this bipartisan bill includes $288 billion in support for small businesses and PPP loans, which would be much needed relief. Can you say with confidence that something is going to pass before the end of the year?
Oh, I cannot, because twice we have put our legislation on the floor, which is the extra PPP and the plus up in unemployment. We could have had this done 2 months ago. 2 months ago. And think about the impact, Carly, that would have on individuals who need that extra $300 a week. But basically, because you've got Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi who would rather play politics than solve a problem, this has not been done. And if they think it helps them politically in races in Georgia, they're not going to do it. They're going to wait and let people suffer, and as I said, to me, it is absolutely disgusting.
It's quite a situation to watch from afar as you see these businesses suffering. Let us switch gears to, obviously, the big talk of the town, the FDA meeting tomorrow to decide if it is going to grant emergency use authorization for, of course, the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine. I think a lot of Americans are wondering what I'm wondering. If it's an emergency, if we're looking for an emergency use authorization, the FDA does not seem to be moving at a speed that I would consider one you would do in an emergency. I hear emergency, I rush, I hustle, I do all that. Seems to be taking its time. What say you?
What I say about this is exactly the reason President Donald Trump started Operation Warp Speed. He knew that the bureaucracy was moving too slowly to address a pandemic. So he called all of the pharmaceutical manufacturers to the White House and said, let's get in behind this and get the job done. He put the Operation Warp Speed project in place. This is a medical marvel that in this short period of time, we have not one, but two vaccines that are ready for approval, that we have antivirals and therapies. We have vaccines 3 and 4 in the pipeline that are going to be close behind this. And it happened because he took an action. He made a decision. He said, we're going to do this. I remind you that back in 2010 with Barack Obama and Joe Biden, what happened when they had the bird flu, the H1N1. They went from April to October. Before they declared it a pandemic, 60 million Americans were infected. And while it was much less deadly, still you had Americans that suffered because it took them 6 months to make up a mind. This is the difference in a president that takes action and a president that wants to move things to committee for discussion.
Meantime, Senator, let's switch gears again. You're getting into the podcast game with a podcast called Freedom Rings. Tell us more about it.
Oh, yes. Every time I would be across in Tennessee, people would say, Marsha, tell me about some of the people that are really fighting for us. So we decided to start a podcast called Freedom Rings. People can go to freedomringspodcast.com, find out more, or go to my political website at Marsha Blackburn and find out more at Vote Marsha. And what we have done is to pull together some of these happy warrior freedom fighters.
Good stuff.
Senator Kelly Loeffler, Senator Rick Scott. They're telling their stories about how they grew up.
Senator,
and people can find out more.
We got to leave it there. Good luck with the podcast.